Greetings everyone, I'm Core the Second, and welcome to a video about Overskip. I rarely make these. This will not be my typical showcase video where I, in great detail with a lot of editing, explain the pack with no extra commentary. It's going to be a more laid-back chill video, so hope you enjoyed that approach. This has always been like a small data pack on the side, so I don't feel like going too far with it, but I might do that kind of showcase for the entire data pack. In this video, I'm only showcasing what this update is adding, and there's one feature here that I swear to God was here. There it is. So witches now spawn. You know what? Actually, let me do this really quick. As always, you can just look at this right here to find out about every change in excessive detail in some cases. I like providing as much information as I can, so here it is if you want to look into the details of the technical side of the things. So here's the witch, and if you guys don't know Overskip, since this is only covering the update, not the whole pack, it's basically a data pack that you can play in the way you like. The intended experience is to spawn in the Nether, which is the challenge, survive, and then eventually build a portal and get back to the overworld. That's one of the ways to play. Another way to play is just to have this in your world, because it does add a couple crafting tweaks, a whole lot of new advancements, and a bunch of other features that can just be cool in your normal Minecraft survival. And the third, and my favorite way to play Overskip, is to stay in the Nether and never leave, which is why a lot of the features are the way that they are. For example, these witches here. So they're a pretty rare thing to find here, but the difference between them and regular witches is that they will drop emeralds, which is actually going to become useful. If you spawn a witch here with a spawn egg or with a command, it's also going to convert to this type of witch for, you know, creative mode simplicity. And that's kind of it for these witches. They're not too rare, but also not too common. Sometimes it can be difficult to find, but I swear there was another one somewhere here. And they are not persistent, so they will despawn like any normal mob. I think it despawned. Now let's get to a more interesting feature, and yes, I'll get back to the ghasts, I swear. This is one of the features that I've been wanting to add for at least a couple years, and I've just always been too lazy. So now it's finally here in this what probably is the last update to Overskip, although I cannot make any promises because who knows what's gonna happen with future Minecraft versions. Maybe something will necessitate another major update. Maybe I'll have some new idea that can be cool. I don't know. Whatever it is, I cannot foresee that. But for now, this is definitely the last major update to Overskip, and from now on, I'm just going to be making ports to future Minecraft versions. Now, I did the same thing that I did with the witch, and I made it so that when you spawn one, it'll become the same type of trader that will naturally spawn in the pack. And this is a lost trader, which basically the difference is they replicate mostly the same way that wandering traders spawn in vanilla Minecraft. They only spawn if you have do mob spawning and do trader spawning game rules activated. It also will take at least 20 minutes for a single attempt, and then there's a 10% chance that a second check can even run. It starts at 25%, then 50%, then 75% for all consecutive chances, and if a trader does spawn, it'll reset back to 25%, but that's just some of the technical details. The interesting part is that instead of buying milk buckets, water buckets, and hay bales, they will buy fire charges. So you can actually get access to all of these items from the wandering trader, which increased tenfold the amount of items you need for this advancement, which I think is kind of funny. And yes, there's also a new advancement for this called hot commodity, and these guys are pretty damn rare. They're hard to find. They spawn near you, but the amount of successes that you need to run into before you can get one is truly astounding. Like I said, there's always a 10% chance every 20 minutes, and only then there's a secondary check that they have to succeed with. So it's kind of hard to get these guys to spawn, but if you play for long enough, eventually these guys will spawn, and then you gotta get lucky. So you can get a lot of amazing items here in the Nether without ever having to leave, which I think is kind of a cool mechanic. And as you can see, let me spawn a couple more. They also buy flint and steel, and in some cases they will buy obsidian. That one just didn't convert instantly because they take their time. So that's pretty much it for the trader. Nothing too amazing, unless you want to do a Nether only survival with Overskip. Then these guys are going to be quite a sought after commodity. They're going to enable you to do stuff like this and that and many other things. Now let's get into the last thing I wanted to mention in this there's a couple other changes, of course. You can see here there's some advancement updates. There's an aesthetic improvement to changelocks, which is why this looks the way it does, similar to the way I did it in mob tweaks. But the main feature, I think, for this update is probably going to be a way to get happy ghasts. As soon as they dropped, I knew that I wanted them to be accessible in Overskip, even though you can't have water in the Nether. So how did I do it? Well, I made a custom item. You can craft these, and then you can place these, and they will work essentially exactly like a happy ghast that is waterlogged does. If you do waterlog them in the overworld, for example, or the end, they will just act like a regular dried ghast. But if you don't, they will just grow on their own, they will not regress stages, and they will automatically hydrate over time. Let me demonstrate that if I can. I sped up the game by quite a lot here, but it's still a pretty lengthy process. The thing about this guy though is, unlike regular dried ghasts, the process here is not randomized. It's going to be exactly 20 minutes for the waterlogged dried ghast to turn into a ghastling. But yeah, that's how you can get them in the Nether, and you can get advancement for placing these in your world called critical moisture. And then of course you get a goal for actually writing them called chase the cries. And this only works on happy ghasts that have hatched from this custom block. There is one problem with this block that I need to mention. I'm not sure how to fix this and if I can fix this, but there's a way to do stuff like this. So yeah, since this is a custom block, you can technically place them in ways that you're not supposed to be able to, and I coded in a detection for that. But for some reason there's this desync. As you can see, I get all of them back, but the game doesn't show it to me, so there's a desync problem that's going on here, unfortunately. And yes, you need Silk Touch, which is what I have on this axe, to get these back. If you don't get Silk Touch, they're just going to drop as a regular dried ghast. So be careful. If you want to place these and then you want to change your mind, you gotta get Silk Touch, which I think is pretty in line with vanilla mechanics. Considering how non-vanilla this is in general, it's a pretty good addition in my opinion, that at least keeps it more consistent with how the rest of the game handles some blocks. So let's check back on our friend here, and he's still in the first stage, but very soon he's going to go into the next stage. As you can see, they also produce particles and sound effects, so this probably, if you're looking at them with a naked eye, is pretty damn close to the vanilla dried ghast, which I think is pretty cool. As you can see, he just went to the next stage. The hydration stage is, let's see, 1. So it was 0, now it's 1. Yeah, just to prove to you that this does indeed work. And that's pretty much it for this update. Another notable thing to mention is that, unfortunately, I did remove the diabolical challenge, which is something that you can only get if you have both Overskip and recipe tweaks installed. By the way, recipe tweaks is getting an update as well, of course, and I'm working on that right now. But that's besides the point. The reason why is that because with the Lost Trader, you can now get every single color of dye in the Nether, pretty much. And so the challenge didn't really make any sense anymore. There's also a new recipe that I added in the last update, so you can get water more easily in the Nether. But that's not even part of this update. I'm just letting you know in case you guys missed out. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Let me know if you want to see a full showcase of the Overskip data pack, including every feature, not just this update. And don't forget to smash subscribe, ring my bell, and as always, stay